The Object Matte tool is the new and improved way to rotoscope your footage. As you can see, it has now replaced the classic roto brush tool that we have. You can use this even if you do not have that much of a powerful machine. Click on your layer and drag it to the timeline so as to create a new composition. You can see we have 4 tools to pick from. If I select the Object Matte tool and hover over my object right here,
nothing happens.
What you do is double click on your layer so you have this monitor open up, and right now if I hover over here my subject, you can see I get this pinkish highlight. The Object Matte tool is trying to figure out what I'm trying to rotoscope out. Down here you have the quick selection tool, is similar to the roto brush tool that we had before, that you can paint over your subject and it will give you a rotoscope. One thing you need to know, if you click and hold Control on your keyboard and click on your mouse and drag, you can increase and decrease the size of your brush. So select the accurate size of the brush that you want, then paint over. And you can see now it has highlighted some part that we do not want to rotoscope. All you have to do is to get rid of these negative spaces by clicking Alt on your keyboard. It will give you the negative brush, and paint over areas that you do not want to rotoscope out. Another tool we have is the selection brush tool. The selection brush tool allows you to add in and subtract things you want to rotoscope to. So let me say I want to highlight this, I can paint over this. Let me say I want to get rid of this foot, I can hold on Alt on my keyboard and delete this foot. Yeah. The Refine Edge tool is used to highlight fluffy areas or softer areas. For example, if we want to get a cleaner matte here on the hair. So let me just delete this and start afresh. So select that, click on Refine Edge tool, hold Control, click, reduce the size of my brush here so I can just get the edges of her hair right here. So what I'm going to do is paint over edges of her hair, and you can see I get this highlight right now. Select the Object Matte tool, hover over and select my subject right here. All you need to do right now is click space on your keyboard and it will start rotoscoping. Now, before we do that, let's check out the settings that we do have here on the effects, here on the effects controls. Here we have the version 4.0, which is the latest Roto technology that we have. You can see we do have all the previous Roto technologies. Propagations, you can actually invent the background or the foreground. So if you click right here, you can actually do a negative Roto. You can fine tune here the object and make it much more smoother. And once you select that, you can see you have auto settings that you have been given here, like the feather, the contrast, but also you can shift the edge and reduce the chatter right here. Now remember, all the settings that you put in here are going to actually make it more slower because it wants to be more efficient. So I'm just going to select the fine tune object mate here right here. I am going to use the Refine Edge Matte, increase the smoothness here to 7, make the feather here 3, chatter reduction here to smoother. Use motion blur because we have a lot of movement on our rotoscope, so I'm going to use motion blur to get a cleaner matte here, especially on the hair and on the feet right here. As you can see, we have a lot of motion blur right here, so I'm going to use the motion blur on my object mate, and then I'm going to select the decontaminate edge color, and this is going to help me get rid of the color decorrelation on the edges of my roto brush. So if I have green highlights on the edges of my rotoscope, it's going to get rid of that by reducing the saturation of the edges of my roto brush. All I have to do right now is click space on my keyboard and it will start rotoscoping. It's going to take some time depending on the power of your PC. All you have to do right now is just wait and let it do its magic. So once the roto is done working on your clip, all you have to do is click on freeze here, and it will bake in the rotoscope. Every time you preview, it doesn't have to go back and analyze your rotoscope and trying to rotoscope again. As I was rotoscoping, it once reached the end of my timeline and became a loop, like it was just going forever without stopping. And then all I did is I clicked space, stopped the rotoscope and clicked on freeze, and it actually had already rotoscope. It was just doing an auto preview of the rotoscope again and again and again. So once your rotoscope is done and you see it beginning again to rotoscope, just pause it and freeze it. And you can see if I toggle on transparency right here, it has done a pretty good job, although there's some work that needs to be done in refining the edges and make it, a bit more accurate. But you can tell that this new technology of object matte is actually pretty impressive compared to what we had before with the Roto brush tool. So go out there and create something awesome.